And today on Are You Bored, we've got Sean with us from Ramstar Games. How are you, Sean?
Good. Doing very well, thank you.
Yeah. So, how did you form Ramstar Games? I believe there's 3 of you in the company, and you're all the same star sign, Aries.
We are, yeah. That's actually, it's funny. We're a gaming group to begin with, and we started having inklings of creating our own game. And when it came to the company itself and setting up a partnership, we wanted to riff off of the fact that we all have the same star sign. We're all Aries. We're all kind of, ram-headed, as it were, and fiery and go-getters. So we came up with things like the triple Aries, Aries cubed, things of this nature. None of it really sat well until Ramstar showed up, and then we just settled on that. We thought that sounds perfect. Not only are we all Rams, but we're all stars, and well, we'd like to think that we are. And yeah, we settled on that, and it came together really well.
What I find interesting as well, that you were all from the same gaming group. You've all had a love of board games, and you've decided, let's come up with our own board game and form a company. Or did you form the company first and then come up with the board game?
No, it was actually board game first. So I had an idea. I used to be a stainless steel fabricator in a previous incarnation, and it left me with a lot of solo time to work on a project and have my mind ideas. And I started formulating board game ideas as the gaming group got a bit more into getting together regularly and playing games together. And so I started spinning on some ideas, brought it to the group. They thought it was a great idea for us to try our own. And it just sort of went from there. You'll have to pardon me. This is Sky. She's going to be interrupting.
Well, we have that with the Basset Hounds. We're going to start having him reviewing games. He's going to be the game reviewing Basset Hound, Boris, because he just pokes up every now and again when I'm doing these interviews.
It's kind of like a shark thing. You'll see the cattail go by. There'll be, it's just passing, looking to see what it can do.
You'll just see a Basset Hound in a minute. He'll jump on the table behind me, and his head will just appear over me. So does it all? So what's the game about?
Well, our game is called Hibernation, and it started off very simply as my working title for it when I first came up with the idea was Swarm. And the whole premise of the game was there are 2 players, and you get a stack of hex tiles each, and the idea is to basically push each other out of the game. And by doing that, you sandwich your opponent's pieces between 2 of your own, and you flip the tiles that are in between, and they become yours. So all the tiles are double-sided, and essentially it's I'll do this to you, and you do this to me, and we're going to try to push each other out of the game. And when I brought that to our group, while the premise was kind of strong, it was a little simple. The mechanics are more like Othello and Go, so not a lot of rules, not a lot of mechanics. And we thought that we would spice it up a little bit more. So Kit and Sabrina, they delved into sort of their experience with app games and things like Candy Crush and Android games, things of this nature. And we brought in other specialty tiles that fit into the game, fit into the theme of the game, which ultimately ended up getting skinned as a bee-themed game. And we brought in flower tiles, bear tiles, pesticide tiles, and a beekeeper tile to sort of tie the whole thing together. And each one of those tiles gives a special function inside of the game. So you don't just have to rely on capturing your opponent's tiles, your bee tiles, with your own bee tiles. You can also use these specialty tiles to use them in different ways and give special effects inside of the game. So you can change your strategy around, and we find it's giving a much more robust gameplay than just the simple base game mechanics that I first came up with.
Yeah, it's just adding that bit of extra into it. But when you mention Go and Othello and games like that, simple to play but hard to master, and they've really stood the test of time. So hopefully this will stand the test of time.
That's it. That's what we're finding actually, is that by streamlining the mechanics and not making it too overbearing with too many rules and too many nuances and things like that, that we think people will find it a very easy game to get into, but a very hard game, as you say, to master. And I think a lot of that will come down to who you're playing. Yeah. So ultimately, like a lot of it's an abstract strategy game ultimately. And like a lot of abstract strategy games, it really comes down to who you're playing to bring that element of difficulty to the game itself.
Plus, you can always, at a later date, you can always put expansions in where you got different types of tiles with different powers, and it might be an option.
Yeah, well, there's a possibility for that. Once we bring this one out and we get some a bit more feedback on it as people play and different gamers try it out, perhaps some of those ideas will come our way. We'll have that opportunity to offer, newer ideas or another perhaps another option based on similar mechanics, something else that we could bring out. We're just getting started, really, so we're not quite sure where it's going to lead at the moment.
So this is the very start of your company.
It is, yeah. This is our first offering. Yeah.
So when were you formed? When did
we started back in the summer of 2019. So this project has been percolating for about 18 months now.
Yeah.
We did have high hopes to bring it out in the spring of 2020. And of course, COVID-19 really kicked the legs out from underneath us. All of our outreach was physical, conventions, gaming cafes, game shops. Even our local library has a great gaming community that we were reaching out to. We even almost had a tournament set up with another local game group with about 30 people in it, and we were pushing really hard to get out into the community. And of course, COVID-19 came along. Everything was canceled, everything, and we really had to turn to the internet as our only outlet for disseminating, the word about Hibernation and what we were trying to do. So we left it hanging for a couple of months to see if things would settle down with COVID-19. Nothing did. So we got back on it, and we wanted to release it in November of 2020. But after getting some really good feedback from some different groups on Facebook who are designed to really help Kickstarters succeed, we realized we still weren't quite ready. So we postponed it until this year, and we will be bringing it to Kickstarter finally on April 13th, 2021.
So it's not on Kickstarter yet. It's coming up on Kickstarter.
Yeah, we've got about a two month run up now before we launch.
Can people keep updated with what you're doing? Is there a website that you can share, or a Facebook?
Absolutely, yeah. But we'd really actually love to be able to talk to people. It's been a bit of a difficult journey trying to, again, reach the right people to come see us and join us. But yeah, if people want to find us on ramstargames.com, that's ramstargames.com. They can sign up for our newsletter and allows us to, chat a little bit back and forth. Here we go, round two. That allows us to chat. Sorry, that was a cat interruption for anybody listening. That allows us to chat back and forth and have that one-on-one discourse that we're really looking for with people. So,
well, it's been fantastic having you on today, Sean. We really appreciate you coming on.
Great. Thanks for having me, Stuart. It's been my privilege. Absolutely.
That's no problem. Hopefully we'll talk again soon.